Hey, Johnny, can you hear me? Can you? I think you can hear me. I think your audio's joining.
What? Yeah, can you hear me now?
Perfect. Perfect.
Right. How's it going, man?
Good. Thank you. Nice to meet you. How's your day been?
Dude, very good. Yeah, it's a beautiful day here in France.
Looks amazing.
Yeah. What part are you? Is it New Zealand you're in or Australia?
Yeah, Australia, New South Wales.
Ah, cool. How is the connection there? Is it okay?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yep, solid.
Okay, good.
Um,
So
I'll just get stuck into it if you like. Just have a chat.
yeah, cool. Yeah.
Awesome. So again, I really appreciate you coming on having a chat.
Thanks for having me.
Could you tell me a bit about where you're from? And what got you started in traveling and your style of traveling, which is the biking type thing you're doing?
Yeah. So actually, I didn't start off biking at all. So I grew up in a little village in the west of Ireland. And I kind of had like growing up, I didn't really enjoy school and that kind of thing, So I was always kind of looking for something new. And I suppose I got to about age 17 where I kind of started thinking about traveling. Like I was just like, I was in school, just about still in school. And I was like, well, if I just kind of stick to it, I can travel after school. But then I kind of lost the idea of traveling for a while, and I decided I wanted to go to college. And I remember I just dedicated my life to going to college. Then I was like, even though I was doing terrible in school, I wasn't getting good grades or anything. I was just keen because I didn't want to be the one to do nothing, even though I hated school. So basically, I ended up not getting into the course I wanted, and I was absolutely devastated. I couldn't believe it, and I was like, "What am I gonna do?" And then I remembered the whole traveling idea, and I remember I was still kind of down, and my sister kind of had a talk with me. I remember I'll never forget the moment. Actually, we were like up on. I was at work. I enjoyed my job at the time, but I knew I needed something new. So we were at the top of the tower. It was like a viewing point looking over all the mountains, and she was like, "You should go traveling." And I remember that moment, I was like, all right, I'm going traveling and I'm doing it by myself because I kind of didn't really have many friends at the time. And even though I was kind of a social person in general, growing up, but I kind of got to that phase of my life where, when you're a teenager and I was a bit anxious and a bit of depression, I was kind of going through a bad time. So I was like, I need to do this myself and kind of find my way. And my family were just like, no, you can't do that. And they were just like, because I was a bit of a troublemaker, not nothing too serious, but I just didn't really like any rules or anything. But anyway, then I decided on that moment that I was going traveling by myself, and I was 18. I was working. I saved up a bit of money, not enough anyway. I'll get to that, but yeah. And then I booked a flight to Bangkok in Southeast Asia, and January, a few weeks, I think it could have maybe even a month or two later, I was gone. And yeah, so I was solo. What I wanted to do, my style of traveling is solo traveling, basically.
Awesome. And so that moment of like transition, was it your sister's pep talk that was just like, that's it, like,
Well,
I'm
I
off?
suppose I was kind of like I was kind of waiting for someone to maybe direct me, or else I was waiting for something to like, I don't know, because I'm a big believer in like the universe. And I was
Yeah.
waiting for something to come my direction. But and just thank God my sister had said it to me, because she had been to the Philippines like maybe a year before, and I remember thinking an airplane coming past there.
That's so good.
Edit that out, can you?
I can hear you. I can hear you just. I think you're good.
Okay. So where was I? Yeah. So I was kind of just waiting for something to come my way, and just as I'd seen my sister traveling, she went to the Philippines, and I always was like, wow, Asia looks amazing. Like, and I always kind of had that in the back of my head. So that's kind of where the Asia idea came from. And yeah, and it was just like, thank God. It was like, I'm so grateful now I didn't get into that course I really wanted, you know? Like, it was like, you know, you forget sometimes in life, like, there's things that happen to you. It's a blessing in disguise, you know? It was like, it was meant to happen for a reason, you know? And that's
Yep.
exactly what happened. And it's completely directed my life in the most amazing way. Like,
Yep, that's awesome. So tell me how it's directed your life. So walk me through sort of where you started and where you are now. So you flew to Bangkok. Was that
yeah.
a long trip planned, or what was the goal behind that trip?
So I set off and I wanted to be spontaneous. I wanted to be like day by day, like the way I was reading it online and looking at the videos. And as I kind of I got there first day, 18-year-old insecure Johnny just got out of the airplane into the taxi. I was like still not really sure what was going on. I couldn't believe it. Like, you know, I just went from a little village to the city of Bangkok, you know. And I remember, I'll never forget the moment. I was like to the taxi driver. He was like, "Where do you want to go?" And I was like, Koh San Road." And then I got to Koh San Road, and I remember getting out of the taxi, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is insane." And I was just overwhelmed. I was loving it. It's like, I remember just smiling the whole way down the street. I got to the end of the street and I was like, all right, I need to get to my hostel. I looked at my phone and I was getting my hostel I had booked, and I had booked it for a day before. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I went up to a tuk-tuk driver and I said, like, can you bring me to this hostel? And sure enough, he didn't bring me to that hostel. He brought me to the one of his choice. So he probably gets a commission or something. So like, anyway, I stayed there and I remember the next day I walked around for, I say like 11 hours of the day, just like walking, just looking at everything like in absolute amazement, you know? But yeah, then the whole trip, I was basically just like going, like following everyone. Like I remember I was kind of like wanted to meet new people, but I was a bit shy at the time. So I was kind of just like, how do I go about it? But I don't know if you've been to Southeast Asia, but in Southeast Asia, everyone wants to meet everyone. So like it was really easy actually. And I wasn't long coming out of my shell, maybe even a week. And I was just hopping around the islands in Thailand, making loads of mistakes. Like crazy teenage Johnny was just being stupid. And yeah,
Tell
so
me
basically,
tell me about
sorry, go
some of those mistakes that you were making in your early days there in
okay,
Bangkok.
so I mean, I suppose I'll tell you about my first experience on Koh Tao Island, like the first island. I was in amazement. I was like, this is the life, you know? And so basically I was just like, I just couldn't believe it. Like I was like, I felt like I was like a child in a massive room of toys and I could just go and do whatever I want. I didn't know which one to choose, you know? And basically the first day I got to the island, got to the hostel. I was loving the hostel vibe. Like it was really cool. I met these two German guys. I don't know if they follow me on Instagram. I don't know if they'll see this or anything, but yeah, so they basically they said to me, "Do you want to come for a ride on the motorbike or the mopeds?" And I was like, "Mopeds?" And I rented one. I never drove in anything like that before, you know. I kind of had driven cars as a teenager, but never a motorbike or anything like that. And we hopped on anyway, and they were like, "You sure you know how to drive?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know how to drive." So I hopped on, and we drove off anyway. I remember as we took off, I kind of wobbled, and they were like, "Oh." And anyway, I remember they brought us up to this like really cool bar at the top of Koh Tao Island, literally the very top. And we got into the bar. It was kind of painted like reggae colors. Like it was really cool. We were playing some games of pool. The viewpoint was amazing. And basically, they started rolling up. I don't know if it's okay to talk about drugs or anything on this, but
You can.
I'm
Yep,
gonna.
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. Yeah. So basically they rolled up a joint, and like I kind of hadn't smoked for like maybe a year or something, like because I was kind of like I hadn't really been doing much. I wasn't really socializing, and so we all smoked the joint. And I remember like getting up to that place was really hard. Like it was literally the slant was just so slanted to get up that hill. And I remember we left then, and I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna get down this hill? And going down the hill, I was like literally wobbling. I was like, guys, can you slow down? Can you slow down? And I remember the day went off anyway, exploring the island, and I just went back to the hostel and to bed for the rest of the day. But yeah, and then I remember that night, I kind of like after I stopped being stoned. Actually, this is like where a big change came in the next few weeks. So I was I wanted to go out for the night, I wanted to have a few drinks as you would when you're 18. And no one would come out with me for some reason. I think it was just like a quiet evening for some reason. So I was like, all right, I'll go out myself. And I went out to like a little beach. There was a little beach party going on. I was having a few drinks, enjoying life. And I met these two Irish girls. I'm sure they'll probably see this now, one of them, and they'll laugh or listen to this. And anyway, so we were walking on the beach. We were all really drunk, and we were like, oh, should we go for a skinny dip? And like, so we all got in the nip. We started running into the sea, and I was just loving life running, and jumped just as I took my like fifth step into the sea, stepped straight onto a sea urchin. Oh man, and I mean right on it. And I got at the time I thought I was a jellyfish, and I was like, I freaked out. I was like, I've been stung. So we all ran back out, never even got like more than ankle depth. And then I got out anyway, and we so we had a look at it, and they were like, this isn't like, what is this? What are all these black things coming out of your foot? And someone was actually just about to piss on it as well, because the thing where you're supposed to pee on, like pardon. So like someone was just about to do that, and we seen the spikes, and they were like, we need to go to the hospital. And so I actually was like, hey guys, you go enjoy your night, I'll go myself. And they brought I like hopped all the way to a tuk-tuk, and we got in the tuk-tuk. I was like, bring me to the hospital, and he brought me to this I was just so silly looking back at it. Like, we went to this the private kind of one, which is probably better off. I found out afterwards, and I was like, I'm not going to a private one, they're going to charge me. So I was like, bring me to the hospital. And on the way to the hospital then, this is actually crazy, because I don't know if you heard, they call Koh Tao Death Island. It's like a nickname for it. And I was kind of like, this is great. This is a great place. No why to say that. And we were driving anyway on the tuk-tuk, and ahead of us was a motorbike. And the poor lad fell off the motorbike, and we jumped out quickly. We were like, oh my God, he was unconscious, blood pouring down his face. We were like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, I was in like panic mode. I was like, what do we do? Like, kind of all I could do was kind of put him in the recovery position, because I had done that course before. And then his friends kind of came along, and I think he was kind of starting to wake up a bit then. And I was like, is there anything we can do? But no, so we just carried on to the hospital. I mean, what else could I do? And then we got to the hospital, and they were looking at my foot. And your man that had fallen off the motorbike, like, they rushed him in, and he was in the same room as me. They were looking at him. He was still kind of like half unconscious, like, and in the same room as me. Like, I was like, what is going on? And like, the hospital then, they had no English. All they could tell me was to put lemon. Like, they kept saying lemon and pointing at my foot, and like, they gave it a clean. So all I could do was put lemon on my foot for the next few weeks and like hop around. So like, I had planned to go scuba diving and things like that, so I couldn't actually do that. But it's funny, because looking back, I still had an amazing time, even though that kind of set me back a lot, Yeah.
Well, I guess you got a cool story to tell now. So
yeah.
How long did it take? Did you actually use the lemon? Did it work, or?
I was using lemon every day, 3 times a day. I don't know did it work, but I was doing it anyway, because I was dying for the spikes to get out of my foot. Like, because the spikes were still in there for weeks. I actually remember the time the last spike came out. I remember it well. I was in Cambodia, and I'll tell you how I got to Cambodia first. Anyway,
Yeah.
So anyway, after a few weeks traveling around Thailand, just drinking on like a big party. It was just a big party really for me. Like, I was exploring places, I was having a great time, that kind of thing as well, But anyway, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to Cambodia, because I heard great things about it. So I booked my flight, and I was with these people. Like, everyone was kind of saying it was normal. Like, they were, Valium, like the pharmaceutical thing. They were like, if you take a few of those for your flight, it'll like just make it like fly by, So I was like, all right, I'll do that. Stupid enough, I did. And I was like, okay, so it's probably like a 5 or 6 hour flight, so I'd probably take like maybe like 2, like maybe 5. I think I took like 4 or 5 of them, not knowing how much to take. I know.
5.
Yeah. And anyway, no, I think it was 4 anyway in the end. and the flight actually was only about 2 hours. So I remember I got there and I was like, whoa, I was like a zombie, and I wasn't too bad now. Like, I was still able to walk and stuff and talk a bit, but I was still just like, all right, there's no way I'm finding my hostel for the next few hours. So like, I just stumbled around Cambodia. I think it was Phnom Penh or something like. Wait, what is it? Yeah, something like that. Anyway. But anyway, I was stumbling around, and I was like, I couldn't even like go through my phone. I was that kind of spaced out. And so I kind of like, I was like, all right, so I might as well do a bit of sightseeing. So I seen those, do you know those things, those fish that eat your feet?
Oh, yes.
I was like, this is going to be great. This is a great idea. How did I come up with this? And I was like, I literally went off and I was like, can I put my feet in? So I put my feet in, and they started eating the spikes out of my foot. So there was only like one left after that. And I actually felt like a genius at the time. I was like, this is so great, like, you know. So if anyone ever stands in a sea urchin, and go and look for one of those fish things.
That's awesome. You're like your personal doctor.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Lemons, fish. But yeah, anyway, after that, then I was like, I'll go in here and have a look in this tattoo place. And went in for a look, and I came out with 2 tattoos.
What'd you get?
I got I don't know, I'll show you here. It's just a smiley face and a compass.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. They're pretty big too.
Yeah. I really like them. Yeah, I was actually, they're probably my favorite ones, actually. But yeah, so
is there a meaning behind them, or that's just
I think the smiley one was just to be happy, because like I was just on a happy buzz, and I have been since, you know. And the compass then is just for traveling, you know. That's pretty much what my meaning behind it. And yeah, I wasn't careful with the tattoos at all. I remember I went swimming within like a few hours of getting the tattoos, like in a swimming pool. So silly. And yeah, the next few weeks I was just in Cambodia. I mean, the party scene is crazy in Cambodia, if you don't know, like. And I was just in like party hostels. I mean, like silly shenanigans, like. But great time as well. I mean, like, I was also exploring like temples and stuff. So I actually wasn't even, I was only there for a week, now that I think about it. And I started to run low on money. I was like, what? I've literally been traveling for a month and I'm running low on money. And I was like, what am I going to do? There's no way I'm going home. My mother was like, come home. I mean, what else are you going to do? And I was like, no, I'm not coming home. I can do this. All right. So I started texting. I remember I was sitting in the balcony. I was like panicking. I was like, I'm not going home. I'm not going home. I was sitting in the balcony on my laptop I had with me. And I was just searching like every hostel in Southeast Asia, pretty much. And I was texting them, and none of them were texting back. So I texted an Irish bar/hostel, and funny enough, she texted me back straight away, and she said, "Come in for a visit." And I was like, "That's all I got." And I was like, "All right, that'll do." But it was in Vietnam and Hoi An. I was in Cambodia, like the top of Cambodia. So I was like, what am I gonna do now? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna risk it and go. So I paid like the cheapest mode of transport. I paid I don't know how much it was now, thinking back actually, but it was basically a 32-hour journey to get to what's it called? Hoi An. So I basically went on that 32-hour journey, popped a few more Valium. Can't believe I actually did, to be honest. Like, oh my God. I think that's like the last time I've ever taken Valium, and probably the last time I ever will. But yeah, and yeah, it actually worked that time. It was great. The journey flew. So I got to I remember I actually remember we were in a taxi, like, I don't know, there was like 3 different modes of transport. There was a bus, there was a taxi, and there was a train. The train was like the overnight train. I remember we were in a taxi, maybe getting we were getting the taxi to the train or something, and the lad that was driving us, like, it was like maybe a big Jeep, and he was starting to fall asleep. So like we had to take it in turns to keep him awake. Like everyone on the bus, and everyone was like keeping in terms, like shouting at him to keep him awake. And then we made him pull over for a coffee. I actually completely forgot about that until now. I know, yeah. But eventually we got there anyway. Sorry, go on.
No, so the bus driver was driving the bus, and he was just not sort of.
Yeah.
conscious
It was
of
more
it.
of a minibus, like a small minibus. Now there's probably about 8 of us in the bus, and it was full. So yeah, he was falling asleep. He must have been driving for hours or something, like, and we were all scared, like scared for our lives. I remember the American fella. He was really getting angry. Like, he was like shouting. He was like, "Wake up!" Like, to be fair, we had the right to be like angry and afraid,
Yeah.
because like yeah. But yeah, I ended up getting to that hostel anyway in Vietnam. And funny enough, she said straight away she liked me. She gave me the job, and I ended up working there for, I think, about a month and a half, maybe 2 months. And I had the time of my life. You know, I was like, I went from this, you know, it's crazy. I went from this insecure, shy, like, person with anxiety and a bit of depression. And within a few weeks of traveling, I had none of it, and I was full of confidence. It was amazing. Like, to be honest, it's something that I'll always like look back at and think that's why I just like would say for anyone to go traveling. You know, if anyone's going through something, I mean. But yeah, anyway, my job was to sorry, plug this back in. It was to bring people out and, you know, like, get people in the mood to go drinking, like, which I was pretty good at. And yeah, so I open a few bottles behind the bar, drink a few bottles behind the bar, and yeah, bring them out at night. Maybe hand out a few free shot flyers. Yeah, so like, I was just having a great time, met some amazing people, and yeah, so so that's where I was at then, like, having a great time.
That's amazing. So what do you think in terms of like, so could you drink on the job? Was that is that okay? Could you do that?
Yeah. that was you they were kind of like pushing you to drink on the job more.
Oh,
so
sweet. That's a win-win.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, it was great. And I wasn't getting too drunk all the time, because I built up such a high alcohol tolerance that I wasn't even that drunk most of the time, you know?
Yeah.
Just vibing up all the energy and everyone just loving life. Like, it was such a great, and it was a great hostel in Hoi An as well. It was so good.
That's brilliant. I was just going to ask you about did you have any run-ins with any ladyboys or anything like that in Thailand and through
Let
your
me
trips?
think. To be honest, I actually didn't. Like, I suppose the main place would be kind of like Bangkok, and I might have seen a few. Like, I wasn't really looking out for them, to be fair.
Don't lie to me.
But yeah, but not really. I think I seen one, and I was like, that is a really beautiful woman, and then I heard her voice then. And it was a lady boy.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
against them at all. I mean, they seem happy enough. So
Yeah. What was so after you went to Vietnam, did you so you stayed there for a few months or a month working, and then
I did.
where'd you go from there? Did you fly home to Ireland?
So I'll tell you from there. I have a few other little stories from getting back to Ireland then. So I suppose I stayed for another month anyway, and I actually, this is something I'm not proud of now, but I actually ended up borrowing a bit of money off my sister, and that's just like I kind of lost my independence from the trip. Like, you know, I was something like I was a bit ashamed of, but now I'm not too bothered. I mean, like, I'm also grateful that she was able to do that for me, and I have such a great family that would do that for me, you know. So I ended up borrowing a bit of money anyway, and she was like, you've been stuck in this hostel for a while, and you should really just go out and see Vietnam, you know. So I did, and I bought a motorbike. I ended up actually, I'll tell you a little story. This before I move on from Vietnam. So I actually I was partying for a few days. This is one of the scariest things that ever happened to me, actually. So I was partying for a few days. I was kind of like, you know, I was just being silly, like, not really taking care of myself. And I remember I must have been like 2 days without sleep, and I remember I was back in the hostel, and I looked at my foot, and I seen like it was all yellow, like the little cut on my foot was all yellow, and I was like, Jesus. So I continued on anyway for a couple of hours. I was swimming in the sea, I was swimming in the pool, not taking any consideration to the cut that was on my foot that looked bad. And I ended up my foot ended up looking really swollen, and I was barely able to move it. So so I found out then. I went to the hospital. I found out I had sepsis, like, you know, blood poisoning.
Yeah, yep.
So it was really, really badly infected. And I was pretty afraid for my life because I know you have to kind of have a strong immune system to be able to fight this. And I had been partying for weeks, so like I was kind of like worried. They kept me in for the night. They put me on a drip. And yeah, so I was supposed to be leaving to drive through Vietnam on a motorbike I had bought actually just within those days. And the lads I was with, they ended up leaving, and I was kind of like, oh my god, like this is kind of ruining. This is like ruining things. So I was really upset, and I was really like, I was barely able to walk. Like I was just like not in a great. I was kind of like missing home a lot. You know, I was kind of feeling a bit homesick for the first time in my whole trip. So I was kind of like, geez, this could be bad. It might not be bad. You know, I didn't know. I know that a lot of people actually can die from it. Like so, lucky enough, I was actually fine. Within a few days, then. So I bought a motorbike and I drove off. Like I was barely ready to go. Like I was still barely able to move my foot. But I was like, I am not waiting here any longer. So I woke up one morning. I was just about like all right to go. And I was like, you know what, lads, I am leaving. So I put all my stuff on my motorbike. You actually got paid a bit from the hostel. So I got paid from my hostel, only a small bit, like, got paid from the hostel, and I set off on the motorbike at like 4 p.m. And I remember like it was so silly. I should have waited to the morning times, you know. So like, I set off, and I had to get like I was gonna try and catch up with my friends. They were like maybe like 6 hours away of a drive, and I was like I don't know how I expected to get to them, to be honest. But I set off anyway, and I don't know. Have you heard of the Ho Chi Minh Trail?
No, no.
It's basically a trail that goes through the mountains in Vietnam. One of the most beautiful drives ever. They actually do it in the Top Gear, the English Top Gear tour. They go through it in Vietnam. So yeah, I had done it once, but you had to go. So basically, I was in Hoi An. I had to go to Da Nang, which is another big city. Then I had to get to the Hai Van Pass. Then I had to go on a motorway for like a couple of hours. And then I was at this another city. And then there was another city after that. And that's where the lads were. I was like, I expected to get that done in one day. And I was like, so I left anyway. As soon as I left Hoi An, my phone died. I kind of arrived in Da Nang. I got lost in Da Nang. I ended up in like it looked like a dock, like an army barracks kind of dock. I don't know what it was, one of the two. And I got lost, and I ended up there, and it was like the completely wrong end of the city to get to the Ho Chi Minh Trail. I was like, what am I going to do? It was starting to get dark. I was like, what am I doing? And I basically asked this really nice man, could he send me towards the Ho Chi Minh Trail? And he actually got on his motorbike. He said, "Follow me," and he drove me a half an hour towards the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And he was like, "That way." And I was like, so grateful. I was like, there really are some kind people out there, you know, just to be able to do that. He probably went out of his way, like. And I head off on the Ho Chi Minh Trail anyway. And I don't know if you know about in Vietnam, like when it gets dark, there's these massive insects. For some reason, there's massive insects everywhere. And I was in a short sleeve t-shirt just like this now. And it was also like, so it was dark. It was there was bugs hitting me, and my helmet that I had on had like scrapes all along the visor thing, you know, the thing that comes down. So when I had that down, I couldn't see, and when I had it up, there was bugs hitting me in the face. So I was kind of like driving with one leg in the air, trying to like I was doing this, like driving through the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And I remember just thinking, like, I am actually, what am I doing right now in this moment? Like, I was just like driving with sepsis, blood poisoning, getting hit with bugs, wearing a short sleeve t-shirt, driving a motorbike I bought in Vietnam at age 18. I was like, what is going on? But I was also loving it, like secretly in the back of my mind, I was like, this is amazing. Like, but well out of my comfort zone. Like, I was like, this is crazy. But anyway, I got onto the motorway then, and the motorway was so scary, man. It was like, there was massive cement trucks, like lorries, like motorbikes, like you're not afraid to do anything apart from me. And then eventually, after like maybe 3 hours on that motorway, I got to the city, and I was like, all right, I'm not leaving here. And I actually got to a little cafe. I charged my phone, or it was more of a pub, I think. Charged my phone, and lucky enough, my friends had actually they were actually only a couple of minutes down the road from me, so I went and stayed with them in the homestay. But he had actually because they were supposed to be in the city ahead, but he had actually been in a bit of a motorbike crash on that motorway that we were on. So like he was kind of in shock, you know, but he was actually okay. He had to replace his front tire, and he wasn't too bad. I think he just had a few scrapes. But anyway, yeah. So that's when my road trip through Vietnam on a motorbike started, and I ended up having like the best few weeks of my life. I think it was 2 weeks we were driving for or something, and I had the most amazing time, man. It was amazing. Like I really had the most amazing experiences. Like it's one really good way to experience culture and see the country, you know, because you're going down little roads that it's kind of like me on a bike now. Like you're going down roads that you never really go down unless you're on a motorbike, you know. And it was really amazing. Like we went through the Ho Chi Minh Trail is what we went through during this time. That was like an 8-hour drive through the mountains to like where, do you know that movie Hong Kong or King Kong? It was filmed there, so like you can
Yes.
imagine
Yep.
how beautiful it was. Yeah, so you can imagine how beautiful it was. But it was actually the High Van Pass. Then that was the one that I was going to at the start of the story there. That's the Top Gear Tour one. But yeah, I had an amazing time. And yeah, that's where I was kind of at then. I'll let you ask any questions if you want.
That's amazing. So tell me about was there any low points in that trip on your bike? Did you struggle at all, or any flat tires or issues
Oh
going through the
yeah.
trails?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Tell me about it.
So after maybe a week of driving, we stopped off in this little place, and it was like there was a lot of Vietnamese people there, and they were kind of like, they all started looking at my bike, and they're like, no, no. And I was like, what are these fellas doing? And they were just like looking at me like, but you know, they were speaking Vietnamese. And I was like, they were like pointing at the bike and like, no, no, no. And I was like, what? And I never actually found out what they meant. Anyway, because how could I? They were speaking Vietnamese, like.
True.
And I assumed that they were saying my bike was bad, and I was kind of offended. I was like, what's the great bike? Thank you very much. And anyway, I found out later that when I had arrived in Hoi An, that when I was on the way to selling my bike, because what you do is you buy a bike and then you sell it for the same price you got it for. I was on the way to selling my bike, and the engine completely blew. It was broke.
Oh.
So I ended up selling it for $20 and a cup of coffee. I remember I was like, is there any chance you can give me like $50 or even like, I don't know, 30? And they're like, no. And I was like, all right, I'll just take the 20. And I was like, is there any chance you have a cup of coffee? Because I've just been like pushing this bike around for the last 2 hours. And they gave me the cup of coffee, but like.
How was the coffee?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, I love the coffee. The word about $200. But
wow.
yeah, there's that low point when I got to Hoi An. But like, and there's another thing that happened during that time which really, really fucked up my journey. Excuse my language, but so basically I think we were about a day away from Hoi An, and we had arrived in this really beautiful spot in Vietnam. I can't remember the place. I should really take down the places I go to, because I can never actually remember them. I can never actually recommend them to anyone either. But yeah, we were in this really nice place. There's all these really beautiful little hills. And we got there anyway, and we were nearly in Hoi An, or Hanoi, sorry. And I checked my visa, and my visa was expiring that day. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Why does this keep happening to me? Like, but also, like, at the same time, I was still kind of loving it. Like, there's plenty of stories to tell, you know?
Yep.
And, but no, this one really did bother me, because I had to figure out what I was going to do. So my options were start driving now and get to Hanoi. And because I had found out, I had called up, or I had looked online, and there was a Vietnamese holiday starting the next day, and I wouldn't be able to go to the embassy for 5 days. So I was like, okay, I can either go to Hanoi now and try and make it to the embassy, but I probably wasn't going to make it, or else I could drive to Laos, which was a really not a good idea, you know. And thank God I didn't do it, because it would have been like through the jungle. My bike probably would have broke down, you know, like, because it ended up breaking down a couple of hours later, pretty much. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I ended up overstaying my visa anyway. Motorbike broke down. That money was going to get me like home, you know. Well, it was going to make me comfortable getting home. And yeah, so then I had booked a flight to Thailand so I could get my return flight back to Dublin. So I'll tell you now, like, this is funny now, but I actually met this fella in the hostel I was staying in Vietnam. He was from Croatia. This is great. It's a great story now. So I'll continue on with kind of both stories. But so basically, I booked my flight. I got to the airport. I went to pay my fine. I had to pay like a $200 fine for overstaying my visa. So I was like, fair enough, that's out of the way, grand. So I went up to check in my bag, and I hadn't checked in my bag online. All right. So because I didn't do that, they charged me like $150 to do. They were going to charge me like $150 or something like that, maybe $100. And I was like, I literally couldn't afford it. And I really didn't want to ask my family for money. So what I did was I threw away my backpack. They didn't even let me bring on a carry-on bag for some reason. I don't know why they wouldn't even bring me on a carry-on bag, but I threw away everything in my backpack. I threw away my backpack. I had another little bag, put all my valuables, my laptop, my camera, like everything, maybe a spare change of clothes in that bag. I left it under the sink in the airport bathroom. I checked in without any bags, and then I went through customs then after with just my backpack on, hoping they wouldn't say anything, and they didn't. And yeah, so I literally came back to Ireland without a backpack. I remember my sister's face when she first seen me, but anyway, so I got back to Thailand. Then I was there like for a week. I was kind of chilling, like eating 7-Eleven toasties, $1 curries, and yeah.
Beautiful.
Anyway, so I went to the airport that the day I was flying back. This is where it gets crazy. This is like one of the craziest days of my life, the most coincidental days of my life, right? So I got to the Thailand airport in Bangkok. When I arrived, I met your man from the fella I had met in Vietnam. And I was like, this is great, man. I can't believe we've just met each other in two countries. Like, what? And then after that, anyway, I went to board. We said our goodbyes. I went to board my flight. And this is a sad kind of story now. Actually, there was a plane. So I had a stopover in Moscow. And we were just about to board our flight, and sadly enough, there was actually an airplane crash in Moscow, and it killed the whole flight. So it actually got struck by lightning. So yeah, that was really sad. So our flight ended up getting cancelled then, and we had to get deferred to another place. So yeah, it was really, really sad. We were all very upset about it, you know. Jesus, like. But
For
anyway,
sure.
I'll continue on anyway, and so I was sent to the hotel for a couple of hours just to chill out, and I got a call, and I was flying to France on a stopover. So flew to France, we stopped off in France, and you know those elevators, they're kind of like elevators, but they're flat in airports, and like one's going one way, one's going the other way.
Yep.
So I was on the elevator, I was going one way, and who was coming the other direction? The fellow I had met in Vietnam and Thailand.
No way.
Yes. And I was like, man, this is crazy. Like, you couldn't write it like. But anyway, yeah, we just kind of said our goodbyes again for the third time. And I continued on, and I went to my boarding gate, and which I thought was my boarding gate. I found out later I was in the wrong one. It was the wrong airline to Dublin, you know. And I sat in my boarding gate, and I looked up, and who was sitting across from me, but a guy I went to primary school with.
No way.
Yeah. And I was like, Jacob? And he was like, Johnny? And like, it's funny because we'd actually been really good friends, but for some reason, you know, after like when you're in your teenage years, you kind of just like just stop being friends for no reason, that kind of way. But like, yeah, I hadn't actually talked to him in years, and we kind of had a good catch up, and we actually ended up meeting up when we got back to Ireland, and we kind of like, we did a bit, we actually went caving, we went like abseiling, we did some really fun things. I haven't seen him since, but like, yeah, it was really cool that we actually ended up meeting up in France, and just by chance I went to France, you know. So it was crazy. Yeah, you just wonder like why did things like this happen. Like, you'd wonder, is the universe like just sending people your way? I don't know, it's just crazy. Like, but yeah, that was the most coincidental day of my life, I'll tell you that. It was crazy. Like,
that is the strangest story I've ever heard. That is so weird,
isn't it? And I can guarantee you it's 100% true. Like, my sisters are listening to this now, they were all kind of like there. Like, I was kind of texting them when this was all happening, you know.
Far
Yeah,
out.
so it's crazy, man. So that's pretty much my Asia trip. Like, I know there's a lot of stories in there, like, wow, how did I even enjoy it? But I really, really did enjoy it, and it completely changed my life and my mindset towards things. Just like meeting new people, experiencing new cultures. Like, it's what I want to do for the rest of my life, you know. So here comes.
So
There's actually like an airline thing here flying over. So
that's okay. So
yeah,
in what way do you think that's changed you? Like, just you're more outgoing
like
now, or tell me a bit about
yeah.
that.
I suppose like growing up as like a young teacher, maybe teenager, like I was outgoing as it was, you know, I was kind of like always like having the crack. But then just in my years like growing up, whatever happened, like like they kind of say like a like I kind of went downhill basically. And yeah, so my father passed away when I was 15. It was kind of after that then where I kind of just started like I got this kind of like sense of freedom in a way, because like he was kind of a sick man for a long time. So whatever that freedom that I got from it was actually a negative kind of freedom. So I actually started kind of playing up and like, you know, and after a while, I kind of ended up getting a bit of anxiety, and I was ended up being depressed because I was, you know, you would when you're kind of doing all things wrong in your life, you know, that's what
Yep.
kind of happens if you're acting in a negative way. And I suppose it was all a learning experience, really. And I was kind of left then as like insecure, and I was kind of like, you know, I was at a place in my life where I didn't know who I was. And that's, as soon as I went on that Asia trip, I didn't find a new person. I found who I used to be, and I also grew. Do you know what I mean? Like I hit rock bottom, and I grew like back stronger. If you get what I mean.
Yep, I do.
So like
Yep.
that's what that trip did for me. Like, and I really mean it did do that. Like, and I'm sure it's done that for other people in the past, like that have went traveling solo as well. You know. So yeah, it was a really great experience that I'll always remember. You know.
That's awesome. I actually don't know
Yeah.
how you survived riding the bike with all your issues going on. How did you feel every day? Like, did you just feel like shit and just wanted to like stop?
No, man. Well, after like 3 or 4 days in, so the sepsis was actually gone, thank God, because I was using I had antibiotics,
Yep.
so that was kind of all right. I was able to move my leg again, and I never felt so free in my life. I felt amazing, like I felt great.
Wow.
Like I kind of stopped drinking because I knew I had to, because I knew, one, I couldn't afford it, two, I was going too overboard, you know, and
Yep.
like, you know, I was just like. So that's kind of why I was really enjoying life. Like I know Nathan and Snedden, his nickname is, and they're two lads I was driving with, and we had a great time. Like we did. They continued on after I had broke down, but yeah, yeah, it was really like, I wish you could actually. I'm sure you should definitely go do it yourself whenever things get back to normal, because like it really is, driving through Vietnam on a motorbike should be on everyone's bucket list. Like it really should.
Yeah, wow, that's good advice. That's awesome advice.
Yeah.
So I just
Yeah.
want to ask you, tell me about what you're doing now, because you're
Yeah.
riding from Ireland to Spain. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I'll get into that now. So I was, the last 2 years after I had come back from traveling, I actually started doing like an outdoor education course. So it was like sailing, kayaking, and the reason I started it is because I wanted to use it for traveling. I haven't actually used it yet for traveling, but I know I will in the future. But yeah, I finished this course just this year, and I was living in Kinsale, this really beautiful town in the south of Ireland, Cork. Shout out to everyone in Kinsale if you're listening. And yeah, so I was living in this really beautiful town, having a great time. I met some friends for life. And yeah, so I was sitting in bed one day, not long ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago. I think it's a few days before, basically a few days before I left. And I was just sitting in bed, and I was like, you know what? How cool would it be to cycle to Spain from my front door in the west of Ireland? And I moved home the next day from Kinsale. I'm home to the west of Ireland, and I bought a bike. I bought it for €100 off a family member. Thank you for that. It's a grand bike. I mean, it's nothing special, but it's gotten me this far. So I packed my bag, and like my family again thought I was crazy, but I think they're happier about this trip than they were about the Asia trip, because I've definitely grown up a lot. You know, I'm not like drinking every day at all, and it's more
No
of like
sepsis?
no sepsis, no injuries actually, not yet.
Very good.
But yeah, and then I set off on this journey to cycle to Spain, and I just wanted to go and like leave my comfort zone and do things I've never done before, and like just like, you know, I went to wild camp the whole way, which is what I've been doing, as well as staying in campsites when I need to charge my phone and shower. And also I stayed in a hotel one night. But apart from that, yeah. So I've just been cycling. I started in the west of Ireland. I cycled down to the south. It took me 5 days. I was wild camping that whole time, staying in car parks, woods, whatever I could find, cooking in the evenings. But I actually started vlogging a bit, you know? So I started, first of all, I had a private story on Instagram and I started putting up a few, like just letting people know where I was at. And my family wanted to know what I was at just because, you know, just so they weren't worrying. And I was happy to do that. So I started putting up a few stories. I started getting some really nice messages from friends and family saying how much they enjoyed it. So I was, you know what? It was well out of my comfort zone to do this. So this is why I actually did it. I started putting it on my main story. And the feedback I got and the messages I was getting were absolutely amazing. I just want to say thank you to everyone again, like how nice it's been. Like I've been basically putting up stories every day, just showing everyone what I'm at, and people saying I'm really good at the vlogging thing, and they're really amazed by my adventure. Which when I kind of set off, I kind of thought like it's not that amazing, is it? And then the more I got some like messages, the more I realized like it actually is great. And like yeah, so I've just been living free and trying to spread some positivity and cycle to Spain, basically. Yeah, and I'm just having a great time and I'm inspired. Honestly, I'm inspired by all these messages and all these people that have followed me, and I hope I'm inspiring people to do things like this or things that they want to do, and that's kind of like the message I'm kind of sending out, and that's. I've coming up with so many ideas in my life of what I want to do for the future. Like I'm thinking of starting a YouTube channel. I'm just trying to build up a following at the minute so I can start that when I get home, because all I have is this phone I'm using now. Yeah, so that's kind of what my adventure is. I'm just coming up to the south of France now. I'll be in Spain in a couple of days, and after that then I'm gonna walk from just the border of Spain and France to Portugal, and that's my plan.
Jeez, so are you gonna ditch the bike?
Yeah. I think I'll give it away to someone that really wants it. But yeah, that's what my plan is.
Could you tell me what you're eating like on the side of the road? Are you just randomly stopping your bike and going to just on the side of the road?
I'm just eating leaves and flowers. And no, I'm gonna joke.
Fuck off, yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm pretty bad for budgeting still, even after my Asia trip. Like, so I have been spending maybe like 25 from anywhere from €10 a day to maybe even €40 a day. That's what I've kind of been spending. Yeah, so that's when I've been camping. Campsites are kind of from ranging from €4 to €15. So yeah, I've been cooking food. Like I kind of like hadn't been eating much meat before I left, but like the day I left, I was like, all right, I'm gonna start eating all meat again, just because it'll be easier, and it has been because I don't have to worry about what I'm eating then. So like I've just been cooking, like trying to find any little I can and cooking, and yeah, I've been eating out whenever I can't find places to eat. Like there was a few days ago there where I had cycled to a campsite, and which I thought was a little village, and it was Sunday and everything closed on a Sunday after 12. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have no food for tonight. What am I going to do? So I was raging now. I got into like hangry mode, you know, I was really annoyed. And like, I was asking people, I was like, where can I get food? Where can I get food? And someone directed me to like 6 miles away. And I eventually got to this restaurant, and the restaurant didn't open. I got there at about 5:30 and it didn't open till 7. So I was like getting really, but I was happy then that at least I was going to eat, but I was still just like, I need food. That's what I need. So I'm not afraid to spend money on food. I'm not afraid to, you know, that's kind of like what I've been eating. Yeah.
So tell me, how many hours a day do you ride, roughly?
So it's been definitely been like different all the time. Like today I've only cycled, I planned to cycle like 90 kilometers today. That would have been one of my highest cycle days. But I actually, because of this, I decided to cut it off a bit and maybe do like 60 a day. I think 60 a day is like average, 40 a day when I'm being lazy. And the highest I've done is 95 kilometers. I'm talking about. Yeah, so and I'm not a cyclist, by the way. I don't cycle at all. Like I had a bike as a teenager, a little BMX. That's pretty much about it. Like,
so there's no training before you started. It's just straight up. You went for it.
I went for a little bike ride for about 20 minutes before I left, and that was it.
How are your legs?
Absolutely fine. Genuinely, I'm so impressed.
Really?
Like, yeah. Like on my first day, I couldn't. So the first day I cycled, I did about 95 kilometers, and I couldn't, like, I stayed in like like a house in Galway the first night, and I couldn't walk up the stairs, and I was like, how am I gonna cycle tomorrow? I did some stretches, I had a warm shower, and I was perfect the next day, and I haven't had any problems with cycling since. The only problems I've had are mental challenges, to be honest. Like, that's the only problems, no physical.
So tell me about the mental challenges.
So it's just basically like, so the last 2 days, last few days, my bike has been really dodgy. Like, so the bike rack has been wobbling, so it's slowing down my tire. I've like had to hold my bag while I'm cycling, so it's like not wobbling, I'm pushing against my tire. And like, people, like, the looks I get is honestly hilarious. People are like honestly, the looks are hilarious. Like, that's one of my favorite parts, is like the attention I'm getting from all these people. Like, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. So there's been mental challenges like that where I just have to keep pushing, and I'm just not motivated at all. But then once you keep pushing, and you kind of figure it out. Like, I bought a new bike rack yesterday, and the bike is perfect now. It's back to normal, and it's like I've been cycling maybe 3 times the speed I was doing the last few days.
Wow. Yeah.
So like, I didn't realize how bad it was, but now I'm back on like a high again. But like, there's days where I'm just like, oh, what am I doing? Why am I cycling to Spain?
Why am I here?
Yeah.
What day are you on? Are you on in terms of your trip? How many days have you been out there?
I've actually been trying to figure this out, and I'm pretty sure I left on the 28th of August. My front door in Ireland, I left on the 28th of August, and it's now, what is it now? The 22nd of September, and I plan to be in Spain in the next 5, 6, 7 days.
So it's almost taken you a month and a week, or is that right, roughly?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean,
so do you miss TV and stuff, or you just?
No, I don't watch TV really. Anyway, I like watching movies every now and then, like a good movie. But apart from that, I wouldn't really watch TV. In college, we just I was living in a caravan in college for like a few months, and we like took the TV out of the room, and I have a massive speaker that we just play music and we talk, and like, I feel like that is just such a better way to live,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what performance enhancing drugs are you on for this trip?
So I think there's just these, you can get those tablets and you put them into water and you drink them, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the energy tablets. I'm not on steroids or any cocaine or anything. No.
You're Lance Armstrong or whatever.
Yeah. But I'm actually doing it a bit slower. Like, people pass me out all the time, like, because I don't know. So yeah. But yeah, that's where.
That's amazing. You know what? You're a true traveler. You're a true traveler.
Oh, thank you. I
so
feel like one, to be fair.
You feel like. What's the worst place that you've had, like the worst day that you've had, and you'd never go back to this place, or during your biking trip here, you're just like, what's the worst day you've had?
To be honest, it could have been yesterday. Like, I was really low yesterday because my bike situation. Like, I was literally cycling at like a mile an hour. I was just like in the middle of nowhere. I hadn't seen a village for like 20 kilometers, even maybe not 20, but like, just there was no chance of fixing my bike for the next like 2-3 hours of cycling. And I was like, what? This is literally like, how am I going to do this? And that could have been one of my lowest points. But like, to be honest, like, it's all worth it, because once you go, as I said earlier, once you like hit your lowest point and you get back up again, it's always just so motivating. And it's like, really, like, you really can't push your bound, like, you really can't push your limits and like see how far you can go, like, I'm really all about like leaving your comfort zone and like pushing yourself to do things that you're uncomfortable doing, because then like the little things in life don't seem as bad, like the little things that annoy you throughout your day. So like, when these things are happening, sure, I'm pretty annoyed at the time, but like afterwards I do like reflect on it and say, all right, how can I learn from this situation, and I feel like that's something I've rewired my mindset over the past few years, or even the past few weeks, even just in this trip in general. I've been really trying to like see how can I cope in the bad times and how can I learn from the bad times, and I feel like that's a good life skill to have in general. So
yeah, you're building that resilience, I guess. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, well, after you get to Portugal, is your trip finished and you'll fly back to I don't know, to be honest. I mean, like,
I'm just gonna start walking after I get to Spain, and I'm gonna do the Camino to, is it Santiago or something like that. And once I get to there, I'm gonna see can I keep walking to Portugal. Depends how, it's all about time really, because I do want to be back for Christmas, which is a few months away. So I do want to take my time and enjoy things. It's something else I've learned is just to relax and take your time sometimes, because once you're like pushing yourself and you're forgetting to take things in, then like, is it even worth it, you know? So
Yeah.
I have just decided just to kind of take my time with things and enjoy life a bit and just like take things in. So I don't want to make any plans that far ahead. I mean, like my overall plan is to get to Spain, you know, right now. And then my next plan is going to be to get to Portugal. I don't know if that's going to be walking through the Camino and then hitching to Portugal, but that's kind of where I'm at now. I mean, I don't want to make too many plans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's an awesome idea.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. Well, thanks for having a chat. Could you tell me a bit about your channels? What are your channels that you have?
So basically, it's just Instagram right now, and I plan to make a YouTube channel as soon as I get home. Like, I'm really motivated to do this because I feel like it's just like the universe is putting me that direction, and I really do want to like follow through. And so I've been writing down ideas, I've been writing down videos, and I really want to bring people on my journeys and try and motivate people to do what they want to do in life. So yeah, YouTube is going to be happening when I get home, but right now it's mainly just Instagram. So my Instagram is Johnny_Coyne, Coyne, and 2 N's in Johnny. That's it really. I've just been on Instagram sharing my experiences. I'm just trying to build up a following, and I'm sure if you do follow it, you will enjoy my journey, because like it shows I'm showing the ups and the downs, not just the ups. Like, so it's been a good journey to watch, I think.
Yep, absolutely. A lot of the travelers, they just show like all the perfect pictures, and that's what drew me to you and some of your stuff. You're more real.
Yeah.
You're just a normal person doing stuff. It's bloody awesome to see, mate.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I want to show. I don't want to like, on Instagram sometimes they kind of show your best moments rather than just your worst moments, and that can like put people down in a way, So I really don't want to do that, and I don't want to pretend to be anyone I'm not. I just want to be myself and bring people on my journey with me, and that's it. That's the message I'm spreading. So
you're a free soul, brother.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. Do you have anything else that you'd like to say before we finish up?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Just shout out to all my family and friends. That's pretty much it. And all my new followers. And thanks for having me. It's been great to talk about my experiences and maybe share them with some other people.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on. And some good stories. A very passionate traveler.
Yeah. And I do want to say that if you're watching this now, you will see me on your TVs in the future, and you'll see me doing some crazy things. I have a lot of dreams and I have a lot of things I want to do, and I can guarantee you this won't be the last you see of me. So yeah.
No, that's amazing. Awesome, man.
Thanks so much. All right, goodbye.
Good luck with your travels. Don't get eaten by bears.
All the best, bro.
Good luck. Good luck, man. Bye.